Welcome, Shari.
Thank you so much, Tia, for having me here today. I'm excited to spend time with you.
Me too. Me too. I'm super, super excited. You are many things, a beautiful soul, along with many things. And one is America's Joy Expert, which is pretty awesome. People like my Chief Happiness Officer title. America's Joy Expert is pretty fantastic. Can you start off by sharing what joy is to you?
Sure. So it's interesting. Being known as America's Joy Magnet is something that is a blessing. And then at the same time, I'm like, no pressure there. Uh, but for me, when I explain and express joy, for me, it is the full expression of ourselves. And what I mean by that is people sometimes look at joy as, you know, the sunshine and the sunflowers and the moments of joy, which they absolutely are.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also that full connection to ourselves, and that allows us to fully express ourselves. And when I feel that, and I feel that when we are in full expression of ourselves, we are truly connected to joy.
Beautiful. And how come joy matters so much to you?
It's an interesting journey. And I'm gonna try to streamline the journey for you.
Okay.
Joy is a big part of my life because for so long I was disconnected from it. Uh, as a young child, I experienced trauma,
Me
sexual
too.
abuse, and at the young age of 7 years old, I got on a witness stand to speak out against my abuser.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And I didn't know it at the time, but what I learned that day was that my voice helped people and it also hurt people. They had
Mm-hmm.
found out that he had done this to other girls, so so they were able to stop that. And so I was deemed as a hero. Of course, as a young child, I did not feel that. I
Right,
was
of
just
course.
frightened,
Not that
scared,
you
and
wanted
afraid.
that. Yeah.
Right. And then I found out that sharing your truth also hurt people because he was then imprisoned from there. So I grew up with this struggle and challenge of showing up in the world, wanting to please people, not hurt people, be kind, be brave, don't talk to me. It was this whole internal challenge and struggle. And
Yeah.
so within that, I lost who I was because I was showing up for the world, showing up as I thought everybody else wanted me to be. But at the same time, I heard throughout my life, like, you're so happy. You're always so happy. And when I really looked within and really looked at my circumstances in my life, it didn't feel that way. On the exterior and on the surface, it was.
But it
But I
wasn't
was like,
authentic inside.
yeah, yeah. And I looked at stuff, Dia, and I was like, well, if you were really happy, would you be in these toxic relationships? If you were really happy, would you be in a body that was unhealthy? If you were right. So there was all of that. Um, and I've come to find out over the years that that disconnection from self is really what was keeping me from feeling connected to my joy. And so once I was able to find that connection,
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to share with everyone. And I wanted to share the journey to that.
The journey to that,
Yeah.
to connection to self and self-love so that you can fully express yourself and connect with joy. Oh, such a powerful story that I this summer read the book The Body Keeps the Score,
Mm-hmm.
which transformed my life. Of course, it's all about trauma, and yeah, the world we need to be talking about this so much more. And I know people like Gabor Mate and people are bringing it, but it needs more faster, to
Yeah,
really, yeah, to help all the way heal. So thank you so much for sharing that.
absolutely.
How come now you just shared a very personal story that explains very well why you would feel disconnected and why you wouldn't have self-love and why there'd be internal confusion and inauthenticity, of course. self-love, being a friend to yourself, self-compassion is really, really challenging for many, many people. And I would love to hear from you. What do you think are the biggest obstacles to self-love, self-compassion?
Number one is fear. People are afraid. I have found in my work and in, and talking to people and meeting people along the way is this idea, this idea that in order to love ourselves, we have to be able to face the pain. We have to be able to face the trauma. We have to be able to sit long enough with ourselves and sit with the stuff that we usually run from. And the only way to, I believe, to get through to the side of self-love is to be able to lean in and not away from. Yeah. And so who wants to sit there, right? Like who wants to be like, especially if you feel like, oh, I'm doing just fine. And even though like for so long how I was like, I've got this part of my career going and I've got that and I've got the man. But when I really sat with it, like I said, and I had the awareness, I was like, you're not really happy. But yeah, I think that's what holds most people back from even just taking that first step is that awareness of where it is that we are, what it is that we're feeling. And then it's like, whoa, that's a big journey to have to walk through.
Right, right. So many people listening are leaders of other humans. So what advice would you have to a leader who has someone or many people on their team that are self-critical, that are really, really hard on themselves? What advice would you have? Because you can't necessarily say, okay, you need to go look at your childhood trauma. I mean, maybe you do as a leader, I don't know. I guess I'm asking you, what advice do you have as someone that's that does not have that self-love, self-compassion, and is really critical and hard on themselves?
Well, it's interesting that, you say, do you, go and look at it or do you? Mm-hmm. And I don't think that there is a line between our personal and professional selves because we bring our personal selves into the workplace. And the best way to show up as a leader is to be most connected to yourself, is to be able to see your own strengths and to be able to see your own beauty and to be able to see your own skills and to recognize and celebrate and acknowledge them. And when you can do that, then you can clearly see that in others. You're also able to give others more grace and more understanding and compassion because you see that you are not perfect either. So I do believe that it is looking at our stuff first. We don't want to talk about that in the workplace because it's, the business, right? But as we've learned over the few years during the pandemic, that we are not machines and robots. We're humans with a full range of emotions. And the most successful workplaces are going to be the ones where people feel heard and understood and celebrated and acknowledged.
So, yeah, I mean, you made me think of just how powerful it would be for a leader to share their journey of moving from being really self-critical and hard on themselves to a place of self-love and of self-compassion. And just by being vulnerable, and of course, I'm thinking of the beautiful Brene Brown, which I know you quoted in one of your TED Talks, I think, right at the beginning, of just being human in front of them, with them, that then enables them to have that psychological safety and
being human. Sorry, being human. Yes. Like giving people permission to be who they are. And the best way to be able to do that is to be fully yourself and fully expressed. This is many years ago when I was waiting tables. I remember my manager, she used to share parts of her lives with us. And in that, where other people would be like, you shouldn't share your personal life with your team. But what all of us ended up doing is that we worked harder for her. We respected her more. We showed up. We didn't want to call out sick all the time, or like we were, in this, there was this level of connection between all of us. And I think that's the most powerful thing you can do as a leader, is to be able to show up fully expressed as a human.
Yes, absolutely. I talk about that in my book, and when I was leading teams in the hotel industry, I always, I was very positive and optimistic, right? But of course I had bad days, I had challenges, and my team would know. I mean, they could tell, right? Like someone's not okay with Tia was, and I'd be like,
Right.
guys, what's going on? And yeah, I think there's this seismic shift happening in the workplace of being these robotic superhumans, drive results, go, 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 go to this new, way healthier space. Of course, it's going to take time to get there, but there is at least the ship is going. So yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And just that, yeah, like you're just speaking about heart-centered leadership.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that starts with the connection to self. I had a startup back in 2013. My old business partner and I developed a wellness company. And as the leaders of it, it was our intention to show up as fully expressed humans, which means some days were bad. Some days weren't as good as the others, and being honest and truthful about it. And the same thing that I shared that I learned from my manager in the service industry, in this wellness space in our community, again, our team showed up for us in bigger ways because we showed up for them in that way.
Yes. So for people listening who might be thinking, I would love more joy on my Mondays. I would love more joy Wednesday nights. I have kids. I'm juggling work. I'm trying to take care of my body. I'm trying to get enough sleep. My phone's, it's always on. I might be taking care of my elderly, like just a very full, I like to use the word rich calendar. And, personally, when I think back to my 20s, I'm like, oh God, full of joy. Like I had so much, I was not married. I didn't have kids. I lived in a bunch of different places, traveled a ton, spent so much time with friends, but, and now I have two little kids where like of course, life is different. Joy and how I feel joy is different, but it's not like, I don't know, the big girls trip to Mexico joy or whatever. So for people that are, let's just say in it, doing a lot and doing amazing, I will say, can you share some maybe tips, things to think about and things to do on how to increase that feeling of joy?
Yes, absolutely. So the first thing I would say is make your joy a non-negotiable. That's number one. And what I mean by that is you need to prioritize yourself. If your child, say if you have children, came to you and said, oh, I just joined the soccer team, we have soccer practice on this day, you would create that space to be able to get your child to soccer. You need to calendar yourself in that same space. And it is possible. We just think we don't have time for us because we're now parents or we're leaders or whatever. And again, the best way to be the best parent or the best leader is to feed yourself the best way that you know how. So it's put yourself in that calendar. 30 minutes once a week, start with that, or 5 minutes each day at that end of the day or the start of the day, the decompression or the filling up. I have been known, my fiance found me the other day in my walk-in closet with the door closed, sitting on the floor, eyes closed, just taking deep breaths.
Oh my God, Shari, I have a meditation pillow in my walk-in closet and I meditate there a lot because people don't come in there, my daughters and my husband. So
yes. And so he actually came in there because he didn't know, because it was one of, I do it sometimes when he's not around for some reason, but he was home and I did it because there's that, it just feels private. And he was like, what are you doing? But that
image is going to stay up both you and I in our closet the same.
I know. But that was taking time for me because there was all the busy, everything felt busy out there. And so you have to make yourself a priority. The other thing that I say is gratitude. People talk about gratitude all the time. And like, I don't have time for gratitude, or like, it's just journaling or this stuff. It's too much. For me, it starts from the moment I open my eyes in the morning. And so all I do before I get out of bed is I place my hands on my heart. I feel my heartbeat. It takes a few seconds. It's going. And I just say, thank you. And I take a few deep breaths. I can go on and on with all of these tips that we can do, but all of these micro moments of connection with self build the joy muscle. So then one day it doesn't have to be that girls trip only. It gets to be, ooh, I feel good. Like my overall being feels good. And when that rises and that increases, then we make more choices for ourselves. We're like, oh, I like the way this feels. I'm going to do more of this, or I'm going to do more of that, and do that one thing. For me, every day it's going out for a hike. That's a
I love
non-negotiable.
your hiking photo. Wait, where do you live again?
In LA.
In LA. Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure exactly right. Yeah, no, you're
Yeah.
hiking. Oh, gorgeous.
That's it. No matter how tired I am, because I know I'm going to feel better
And
after.
you go, people listening, whoever you're driving your car, you hike every day.
Every day. And I get up at 4:30 in the morning. Because I like to meet the sunrise. That for me is my connection moment, connecting with self, connecting with nature, connecting with something higher than myself. All of that are all
amazing.
Is joy.
Okay, Shari, what time do you go to bed? You wake up at 4:30. What time do
10.
you fall asleep?
10
10
is when I sleep. Yeah, I'm sleeping by 10.
Okay, because I talk a lot about sleep and happiness, of course. So,
Yeah,
okay.
I could use more sleep. I'm not going to lie. Like I could always use more sleep, but which means better sleep, not more. Like I function really well, but I don't have as full of a sleep. So that's definitely an improvement. That's honest.
Okay. Well, you can maybe start 9:45, little increments, but
right.
Man, oh man, for people, even if you could get up you're inspiring me. I see the sunrise a lot because my little kids wake me up. So it's not like, oh, here's the sun because we're all up, but that intentionality. And of course, nature is such a huge source of joy for everyone. So even if it's just that 10-minute walk, maybe it's not a hike with the sunrise like you, but just
stepping outside your front door, taking in a deep breath, just standing on your porch and just breathe. I always say breathing in life and breathing out expression. Breathing in life and breathing out expression.
Beautiful.
And then I'll just say one last thing.
No, please.
This is so important because especially for corporate people, leaders, full family, rich lives, as you said, I have an hourly alarm on my phone that goes off every hour on the hour, and it just says connection. And because we can get wrapped up in the go, and we forget, and it's been hours. And so for me, what that means is deep breath, is feel my butt in the chair. It's to become fully present. Yes.
I love that. I have a morning.
Joy is only found in the full presence.
Yeah. I have a morning meditation practice that I do, but I absolutely can sprinkle in more throughout the day. And that hourly alarm, that's a great, really, really great tactic. And is there anything else? Maybe I'll ask you for number 5. Okay. In addition to what you've said and pausing to breathe and pausing to get centered and present, many people are on Zoom meetings all day, or they're in, Zoom meetings and then in-person meetings, and there's not a lot of white space. And so is there anything else you would recommend with the goal of more joy, more connection to self, in addition to that breathing and presence, that someone could do in maybe 10 minutes?
Yeah, be more creative. Creativity is a connection to joy. And what for me, and so that can be done at work. I mean, like you could sit with a doodle pad and
think coloring and drawing,
coloring, singing, even just like listening to music. Yeah, while you're working at your desk and you're like, put on a song that makes you feel good. For me, music opens my creativity because there's all this, like I have the movie in my mind, like as I mentioned, like literally the pillow in the closet, I start to get visions of things. So music does that for me. It opens up, I see everything as a movie and TV. So there's different ways to tap into our creativity. It's allowing yourself to just have more fun. Find purpose in the work you're doing. I know you asked for one, but I get inspired.
Yeah, no, the creativity is good. Just kind of, I love that. I really love that. My little 6-year-old loves to paint, and I love painting with her because I don't think I would be painting that much, but she just having paper and then the colors and everything. So,
and at night when I'm watching TV and like my fiance goes to bed because we watch different shows, so he goes in the room and I stay out there. A song will come on, or I'll think of something and I'll just get up and dance. And it could be 8:30 at night. I'm by myself and I'll just like that movement there's just something creativity comes to me at all different times of the day. And I allow myself that time
to have that.
Yeah.
So all of the research shows that the biggest influence, the biggest driver of human happiness is human connection, spending time with people that you care about, who care about you, being connected and present when you're with them.
Mm-hmm.
So can you speak about joy when you're with, I guess I'd just love to hear your thoughts on joy with your friends, joy with your family members, or joy with your coworkers, that human connection piece.
Yes, absolutely. I call them my 5 sparks of joy, and it is connection with others is one of them as well. And again, when we are fully present with ourselves, when we are fully connected to ourselves, we are not with other people only thinking about ourselves. We are able to hold space for other people. And so my relationships are filled with joy because I actually can be present with them and listen and full eye contact and not trying to do something else or trying to get something, or, it's about celebrating and being present with other people. So there is, and when we give that to others, they also create that same space for us too. And then we're able to feel heard as well and seen. And it's just this beautiful sharing of being human and alive. And yeah.
The listening piece is, and I think, it's so important, of course, and many people, including myself, it's an ongoing process of just getting better and better. There was an amazing talk at the World Happiness Summit all about listening, and it just moved me of like, wow, I can get a lot better at this. And I've heard many talks on listening, right? And it's this reminder. Okay, so what are your thoughts? Oh, what were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say, I think one of the challenges against that while we have trouble listening is because we're not listening to ourselves first. Because when we do that, then we feel satisfied within, and then I can have a conversation with you and not think about all the things that I need to do and all of that stuff, because I have already set up that space where I give myself plenty of my own time and my own presence that I'm then able to share that extra with you.
Right. Listening to self, whether that's in a quiet meditation, whether that's journaling, whether it's when you're outside, etc. I love that. What are your thoughts on our cell phones and joy? Because a lot of people, or this is like,
oh no, I'm with it too, and it's one of.
And maybe if you could share, because I think technology, of course, is helping us, and it's also challenging us for our joy, for our happiness, for our mental well-being. So
it's definitely, like they say, comparison is a thief of joy. Our phones can be as well. Technology is, and I'm guilty of it too. I will always share the truth. Like, I'm on it way too much, and then I say, well, it's because it's my business is online and everything. So I do make concerted efforts. Like, I do not, and I'm so proud of myself for this now, I do not pick up my phone first thing in the morning and check emails or anything like that. I used to. And I could feel myself, like, after my gratitude, like, then get my phone and be brought right back down. And so I give myself that morning space to meditate, to give gratitude, to take my walk. And the first time that I pick my phone up is actually during my walk, because I love to make my videos. That's my creative time as well.
That's like giving. You're using your phone to serve.
Yeah. Well, and that fills me. That's part of my joy. If I do not create content, I know this might sound strange, but if I do not create content, some kind of video that uplifts somebody, I feel like, I don't feel uplifted. It helps me. So yeah. So, but our phones, because we've become so connected to those that we forget to experience life and the people around us and everything. Like, my fiance and I always talk about how we wish sometimes smartphones weren't around.
Oh, my husband and I talk about that. Yeah. And you know what you made me think about? There's so much conversation around put your phones down so that you can connect with others. For those listening, I'm like moving my hands, like look at people, connect with others. But your message and what you speak about and what you write about is first and foremost, put your phone down so that you're connecting with yourself. Because if you're in your phone, you are not doing that deep connection. You are not, which is where we started. And I don't think that's talked about enough. It's usually about, don't have just social, social media, like have real social connections. But the more we're on our phone, we're not with ourselves. So that's just another massive reason to be conscious, to be intentional, and to have more joy without it.
Yeah. And I begin and end my days without my phone because I want to begin and end my days with self, with gratitude at the beginning and the end of the day, and really taking in what I've experienced and the awareness around it and ways that I've grown. And so without the phone, it allows you to do that. And it'll be challenging for some because we're so used to the constant stuff coming at us.
The dopamine.
Yeah. And then also what I talked about before about the fear of being with self, like that's why a lot of people had trouble during the pandemic because everything slowed down and it was like, oh my God, I'm left with my thoughts. I'm left with all these things to contemplate and to work through. So it's definitely a process, but self-compassion and kindness as you move through any of this to create a better life for yourself will be the foundation to getting through that.
Yes. Yes. Oh, Shari, so good. So where can people get your book, watch your TED Talks, find more about you? Where can people go?
My website, sharialyse.com, has links to everything. But I'm super social. I'm super social on Instagram and TikTok. I love to make my video content there. So that's a great way to connect.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on. I certainly feel more joy after this conversation, and I look forward to connecting with you more.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.